City 35-0. We're going to take a look back at some highlights in that first half that was all Scotus, the number 2 Shamrocks, as you might imagine, having their way with David City. Starting things off here, here was a scoring drive that got set up by Jake Bob near the 2-yard line. It would ultimately be punched in by Bailey. And here is the aforementioned Pelster, who is leading all Shamrocks with 97 yards. There's about 40 of them right there. He did go out with a slight injury in that second quarter, but came back and just fine. Cole Harrington on the carry there. He takes it in from 3 yards out. One of his 2 touchdowns in the first half. Here is the lead for the Scouts in Thuin. He has 57 yards for David City. That was the biggest one of the night right there as he got down near the 40-yard line for David. Total yards, 311 for Scotus to just 59 for the Scouts. And there's Tanner Spenceri. He had a 3-play set where he really just took control of the offense for Scotus. There was the biggest run explanation point on that drive. And again, Spenceri again with his second carry, that he can run the ball well. Taking it to the 21-yard line. And Grant, here's a player we talked about in Spenceri. Also, Jarecki got some carries as well, the junior, from 7 or 6 yards out. So I asked you your thoughts a couple times, but these are the highlights of that second quarter. What do you have to do for David City? It's a very tall order, down 35-0 this second half as we are about to kick off.
Well, we just saw Jarecki right there as you just talked a little bit, but David City, very tough task. I mean, obviously they're down 35-0. For those of you who know, this is running clock here in the second half until David City can put some points on the board. They are going to just need to get some points. That's going to be the first thing they need to do so they can slow this clock down.
So the Shamrocks are going to start things off as Harrington gets the return, tackled near the 33-yard line. Again, the running clock is a NSAA, sort of the governing body of high school sports in Nebraska. Doesn't matter if there's a penalty, doesn't matter if it's an incomplete pass, the clock will run as long as there's a 35-point deficit or more.
Just with the score still. We're up 17-13 at halftime over the Columbus Discoverers. They are playing at Burke.
So 11:20, 40 seconds already gone, handoff up the middle. Shamrocks pounding forward near the 40-yard line. Grant, this is a situation where you're going to see a lot of younger Shamrocks playing on the offensive end, which is a plus for Coach Scotus.
Yeah, always good to get those younger guys some experience. Matt Strecker there on the carrier, the sophomore, sitting at 190 pounds, so no at that, but a nice job by Strecker to get up there and get some yards. A line back up here.
Second jet sweep from right to left. This time it's Chase Newman on the carry. He gets around the outside for a gain of 6 and a first down.
Yeah, and just a little simple sweep action there. Newman able to get up for a first down, and we're going to see Dalton Taylor coming into the game, the starting wide receiver. Nice job to get just a little stiff arm, get forward and move the sticks.
First and 10 from the 47. Hand off again to Newman. He's going to take it around the near this time. Shows he can cut up a little bit and gets across the 50. He's still going. Newman taken down at the 34.
And that reverse hand, a little across the field handoff we've seen all night. And credit Dalton Taylor also for getting down there and making downfield. You see Luke Jarecki getting in the mix as well. But the young guy's getting some action. Newman. Nice job, the junior running back, defensive back, 5'10", 140 pounds.
And you know the Shamrocks, a team that made it to the quarterfinals last year, returned 20-plus starters from that team. The young guys have been hungry. They've been waiting for their time to get in here and play, and they're making the most of it. There is Jarecki again, who's along the outside, out, tackled near the 25. But yeah, Grant, the point I'm trying to make is these young guys have watched the ball from the sidelines.
Well, and they've learned from some great players and some extremely talented players at that. Something, if you guys were just watching that play, I just want to point out, fantastic job by Matt Strecker to carry that play fake out up the middle of the field. The young fullback running back carried his fake for just as far as that run went, so for about 10 yards. Nice job.
So fresh set of downs, or excuse me, second and very short as carry to the outside will get a fresh set of downs. This time Matt Strecker with the carry.
Goes from the fake carry, the play to the actual carry, and nice job to move the sticks. Little action, little dive action. He was able to bump there to the outside. The sophomore doing a good job coming out of here into the second half.
Ball's placed at the 18. Already 4 minutes gone, 8 to go in the third. And the Shamrocks threatening to score again and add to the total. Prismus is going to roll out to the right side, has a big lead blocker. He's going to keep it himself and go for the end zone. There is a rushing touchdown for the quarterback in Brady Prismus.
Brady Prismus, as we've seen, does a pretty nice job of chucking the ball up in the air, but showing us what he can do with this a little bit there is, that was a pass play from all signs that I could see. We're going to take a look at that one more time. He's going to play action, then roll out, and he sets up.
Big Caleb Oshtick on that lead block.
Caleb Oshtick, a fantastic job, and you see a group of other offensive linemen coming across field to set up the blocks, and Prismus with a big rushing touchdown for the quarterback.
Don't see that too often. Prismus definitely a very good general game manager, facilitates this offense, but taking the offense on his shoulders there a little bit and saying, get in on the scoring action.
Field goal was good. They will go up 42-0 here, and the clock continues to count down as Scotus has over a 35-point lead. David City has got to come out here. They need to put some points on the board right away, and then they got to get a defensive, and then they have to put at least a field goal in the end zone. They need to get this clock to stop moving if they're going to get back into this game here.
Talking about the high school scores, these other Columbus teams, as of halftime, the Vikings of Lakeview were trailing Wahoo 14-0, and I believe you have an update on the Columbus high score.
Yeah, just sitting at half still. They were down 17-13. We haven't gotten an update yet from those guys on if they've come out of half. Their game not going quite as this one. Pretty close. Like I said, 17-13. Burke with the lead at this time.
And we talked about it pregame, Grant, just Class C1 as the ball is muffed on the kickoff, and there's a scrum for it. The Shamrocks are battling. Interesting to see who gets it here. Clock continues to run and stays with the Scouts, but we talked about how district play begins for these two teams, and not an easy depending on what team you are, but I'll just list off the teams. There's Scotus, the number 2 team in Class C1. Then there's Bishop Newman, number 4 team in Class C1, then Wahoo, the number 6 team in Class C1. That's the top half of the team district, and then you have Lakeview sitting at 2-2, David City, and North Bend Central. So a lot of good football in Class C1, but then even more condensed in the alone.
Yeah, Lakeview has a job so far this year. They came back, had the big win over Kearney Catholic. They're down right now to Wahoo, who is a very good team. But it's a matchup. Was not quite as close last year when Lakeview and Scotus played at the end of the year, just kind of looking forward. But I am looking forward to covering that game when it comes time. Frenzen and those guys are doing some nice things to put some things together. We'll see how they play. We'll see how they finish out tonight as they face a tough opponent in Wahoo.
And we'll also see the Scouts again when they come to Lakeview the second to last week of the season. So not the last time we'll see the Scouts either as they get near another first down towards that 30-yard line.
And just going back to that kick, that was Thewen who was able to get in and recover that kind of muffed kick return there.
So after the carry brings up a 3rd and 1 ball on the 29, 6 minutes to go in this third quarter. You Got man coverage on the outside. Handoff though right up the middle, and depending on the spot, looks like they might have given him the first down.
A couple guys in there, Seth Gutzmer, Duncan Paxoza. On the defensive line, they're kind of getting in the backfield right away. We saw number 30, Will Soderman as well. Soderman, the junior linebacker. David City, things not looking great so far. Unfortunately, down 42-0 right now in the third quarter. Can't really seem to get anything going on the offensive side of the ball, or unable to really get a stop defensively as well.
Thewin, though, trying to bust it to the outside, then cuts it back up, and great effort by the senior who gets 11 yards and a first down.
And Thewin, we talked about him a little bit earlier. He did have 56 yards, I believe, in that first half. He was the leading rusher. They ended up having 40-some yards overall due to some muffed snaps and some bad plays along those type of lines. But he's done a great job. He's the leader for sure on this David City Scouts offense. See if he can continue to produce.
This time they go right up the middle. Thewin was on the fake. A loss of 1 on that play. David City just really in their toughest stretch of the season. We talked about it already. Norfolk Catholic last week, #1 team in Class C1. Then they have Scotus. This week is #2. And next week, Grant, they have #6 Wahoo. So not a lot of fun for David City right now.
You know, Scotus has a very hard schedule, and David City, unfortunately for them, has a pretty similar schedule as far as strength-wise to what Scotus does. Scotus won a couple of those games. David City just unable to pull out some wins early, and it's going to be a tough stretch here, like you said, as they move into the rest of these district games.
Sitting at 1-2, the David City Scouts grabbed that first win of the season, 23-13 victory over Douglas County West. Besides the Norfolk Catholic loss last week, they also had a loss at Milford Dorchester by a score of 34-7. So now 3rd and 10, 3 minutes remaining in this third quarter. And rolling out to the left and throwing in, hitting his receiver. That's going to be a first down. Great concentration, Grant, as he is still going on that one.
Ryan Worm, the junior, with a nice catch, and you saw him, the whole wide receiving and running back, halfback backfield, is kind of sprawling out to that left side in just a cross pattern. Able to find Worm kind of in that midsection under. He gets upfield and does a great job moving forward. And the Scouts, you know, I talked a little bit too soon, pressing forward and very close to red zone territory.
Ball on the 36. And nothing doing there. Carried on the play by Devin Betson.
Duncan Paxoza getting in there almost immediately to get his hands on the running back. Number 30, Will Soderman, called him a little bit earlier, but he was in there as well.
No gain on the play. And actually now they tack on actual loss of 3. So 2nd and 13 with 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the third. Justin Zuka in at the linebacking core. There's a quick pass. And unable to hold on to the Scouts. But again, a lot of younger faces playing on this defensive side as well, not just on the offensive end for the Shamrocks.
Yeah, it just bounces off the hands of Logan Detmer, who's had a nice game so far defensively and a couple of looks offensively as well. He is one of the kick returners for this team. Detmer gets in on a lot of tackles, very active player for the Scouts.
.136 to go in the third. 3rd and 13 as they now go to Thewin, who tries to bust it around the outside. Gets tackled near the 33.
And Thewin getting up a little bit slower there. Might hurt his leg a little bit.
So it's going to bring up a 4th and 9 with nearing a minute to go. Ball on the 35.
Down to just about under a minute here as this running clock continues to tick.
So see what the Scouts have here. 49 seconds to go in the third. 4th and 9 as Papa rolls out to the short side. Throws on the run. And we'll see what the call is. Incomplete pass is the call, and turnover on downs. Shamrocks take over.
Covers on the play by number 86, Jacob Wright. Incompletion will lead to
Scouts looking at a 4th and 9 here, and got the running clock. The quarter pretty close to ticking out here.
the Shamrocks will take over downs.
And so they do let the clock run out, but it was turnover on downs. 12 minutes left to go as fourth quarter action is just around the corner. We said this one would be going fast with the running clock, so 42-0 the score. We'll be back with the final 12 minutes on ColumbusNewsTeam.com right after this.
Wake up in your first home.
Class of 1965.
Wake up in a home you've made a bit bigger. Wake up in a home with a new address. Wake up in a home that doesn't even have an address. As your life evolves, your dream home evolves too. And protecting it takes committed support. At American Family Insurance, we support your dreams.
In Columbus, see American Family Agent Roger Iwanski.
Welcome to Columbus Tire and Service in historic downtown Columbus. We as a team never promise more than we can deliver, and we always give the customer more than they expect. We're authorized dealers for Goodyear, Hankook, and Falcon, but we can get you any vehicle tire you want. We offer full automotive repair by 4 qualified, experienced technicians. We are a qualified farm tire dealer, and we offer 24-hour on-the-farm tire service. Request service, shop for tires, or request a quote at ColumbusTireandService.com, or give us a call to set an appointment, 402-564-6229.
Wake up in your first home. Wake up in a home.
And back to fourth quarter action here. Shamrocks leading 42-0 on ColumbusNewsTeam.com. 2nd and 10 upcoming after they take over on downs from David City on that 4th down failed conversion attempt. 2nd and 2. And nothing doing there on the carry on the outside for Chase Newen. The Scotus defense, or Scouts defense, excuse me, not giving up yet.
And nice job to get in the backfield there and just find that gap. Bose West.
Yes, Grant, Bose West. They're the third quarter sponsor for us, also our first, and they have the best burgers in Columbus, and I was hungry when I said it in the first quarter. I've only gotten hungrier, and those burgers are sounding better and better.
Absolutely delicious. I cannot wait. It's going to be hard for me not to go get a burger over at Bose after this now. There's great food there.
And the good thing about their menu is they have so many burgers as pass goes deep, cannot find its target, but just finishing that thought, you know, I had the fried jalapeno or whatever burger, you had the egg burger, but we could go there every Friday for the next probably 3 months, definitely the rest of football season, and have something new every time.
Oh yeah, they're always mixing up the menu, and it's always something delicious. It's always interesting to see what they have going on there. So go ahead and check out Bose West. Make sure you try out some of those burgers. Fantastic atmosphere and a great outdoor setting to go eat a burger and just kind of watch some sports. So make sure you check out Bose West. So give Dustin Papa and Devin Betson on that last play, give them some credit as they forced the 3 and out here for Scotus.
First punt for the Shamrocks. It's a high one. Bounces near the 30 and gets a little bit of a Scotus bounce as it will be downed inside the 20-yard line.
And Jackson Kump there to down that one, number 39. Boot that one all the way across the field there. You see that soccer leg coming in a little bit that we were talking about earlier.
So the Scouts are going to start things on their own 17. And right now, Grant, it's by all intents and purposes the game's over. Clock's running, there's 9 minutes to go, but We've seen it for the Shamrocks. They've got some young players in. Might be a similar situation for Coach Ferg and the Scouts.
Yeah, 42-0. Unfortunately for David City, not much hope going into the end of this game here for a chance to come back. But give them credit. They have not stopped fighting. As you can see right there, they're just continuing to push forward, trying to get some extra yards there. But the Scouts have done a fantastic job effort-wise tonight, unable to really put the points on the board to kind of mimic the effort that they have been giving. But Ewan, the lead rusher tonight so far, done a great job. They just haven't been able to complete a drive and get points on the board.
David City really hoping to get back to where they were around 2009, 2010, where they went 7-1, then 6-2. Actually, looking at this series between these two teams, Scotus leads 5-3 since 2003 when these two teams met. It's kind of gone in spurts. The Shamrocks won in 2003, then there was a 4-year hiatus till 2008, and Scotus won that one as well. But then David City dominated the next 3 years, 2009, 10, and 11, where they had some really strong scout teams. And then after that 3-game winning streak by the Scouts, Shamrocks have sort of turned the tide, and in 2012, 13, and 14 have rattled off 3 straight wins. So a little history lesson for you, Grant.
Yeah, absolutely. And then in the Scouts teams, that was a little bit just after I had kind of left the area and went off to Omaha and ended up in Wayne. But the Scouts did have some very nice, solid teams. Unfortunately, this game not able to put it together. But another job, and nice job by the Scotus defense to get in the backfield. Papa unable to get that one off on an attempt to number 12 Ryan Warner, who made a nice catch a little bit earlier.
And we have Jarecki and Anthony Cush back to do some punt returning duties. It'll be interesting to see how these guys do. Normally don't get to get into this situation. Also you have Dodson kind of the sort of lead blocker sitting around the 30-yard line as he backpedals. Jarecki's going to take it near the 50. Going backwards, but if he can get to that wall, there's a huge hit by Marcus Dodson. Jarecki is wrapped up near the 30, and the Scouts player is writhing in pain, and a flag was thrown. And Grant, you analyze that.
Yeah, my initial thought, I didn't see the flag, and Dodson did have his hand in front. I wonder if they're going to call maybe a helpless defender type of call or something that you see with some receivers sometimes. But take a look at this one again. You're going to see Jarecki come across the field. You will see Dodson's head in front, and he does hit him with the shoulder pad. So it did look like a clean hit. It was just an extremely hard hit at that.
That was Ross Kirby, the unfortunate one on the end of that block. 6'1", 175-pound junior. Situation where now everyone's on their knees and he's being tended to. We'll kind of just leave it here and see what happens.
Yeah, unfortunately, you hate to see when players get hurt like this, and it is the game of football. He just absolutely did not see him coming. They're going to call a personal foul. But they're going to call that against David City, or the Shamrocks, excuse me. Got my directions confused there for a second, but they're going to call that against the Shamrocks. And they're going to start moving him up a little bit, which is a good sign. He's just kind of coming to his knees. Hopefully nothing too serious.
And he is standing under his own power.
You wonder if maybe he wasn't just a little bit rattled, maybe got the wind knocked out of him or something like that. Obviously, even just getting the wind knocked out of you keep you down on the ground for a little while, but a very hard hit. I thought it looked like a legal hit to me. I think they might be calling that just because, he just didn't see him coming. It might be kind of a helpless type of deal. It looked like a clean hit to me. It looked like he led with the shoulder pad. You didn't see his head duck at all. It was shoulder to shoulder. They're both shoulder height when we looked at that replay. But you got two guys running full speed at each other. One of them's bracing for a hit, and the other one obviously not braced at all for any kind of contact. Ross Kirby was the guy in that situation.
I'm glad to see he at least gets to the sidelines under his own power and sits down on the bench, but wishing him the best, and hopefully it's nothing too serious. And again, he's now standing up, and that is the game of football, like you said, but happy to see that he was able to get off the field under his own power as we get back to football action. Shamrocks take it near the 40, another carry by Matt Strecker.
And you wonder if it wasn't maybe it might be a concussion type situation. A hit like that, you never know. That very well could have been a concussion, and it's a very serious thing. If you follow football in any aspect, you've probably heard quite a bit about concussions, and so they take a lot of care with that and very cautious with anything dealing with a possible concussion situation. You see you're at run again right there by
Will Sonderman, I believe, with his first carry. So a lot of guys getting to share the wealth in a game like this. It's got to be fun, you know, for the young guys. We've talked about it already, but they're chomping at the bit to get their shot.
Yeah, injury aside for the Scouts, Scotus, on the other hand, you got to think those guys are very happy to get in there and get some reps. And thanks to their offensive line, who's been extremely good tonight, been doing a great job of getting their feet set and getting the right blocks, getting the right places at the right times, and opening up the lanes for these running backs.
And there's some penetration by the Scouts and a tackle for a loss on that one, and they're fired up. That was Papa in on the action.
And the QB showing he can hit a little bit. We've seen him in the backfield off and on kind of throughout this game. Papa getting in the backfield and getting stopped there.
So with the 4th and 6 upcoming, 5:20 remaining, and you can imagine the Shamrocks are probably punting here.
Yeah, no need to go for that. You're sitting on the other side of the field, and you're leading by 42 points. Go and kick this one away. And we do see Tate Buchanan back there kicking away.
And he's got a spiraling punt, bounces near the 20. And Harrington downs it at the 17.
Buchanan's punt is down by the Shamrocks
And Buchanan with a nice little leg there.
at the David City 18-yard line. Scouts will take over first.
You'll see a lot of those starters do come in for those punt type situations, those special teams type situations, because they don't give a lot of practice. You know, there's not a lot of backup work. You'll have your 1s and your 2s go, but besides that, anything special teams is going to be pretty strict starters unless you're dealing with an injury. So that's why you're seeing those guys out there.
And Grant providing an update, just tweeted Lakeview scores a touchdown, misses the PAT, but they're trailing Wahoo 14-13. 6:35 to go in the game.
Exciting for those guys out there to get a little action. On the other hand, Burke fumbled the second half kickoff and ended up recovering the ball and returning it for a touchdown. So Burke increasing their lead after one of the more crazy plays I'm sure those fans have probably seen, after returning a kick, fumbling the kickoff, picking up the kickoff again, and then still returning it for a touchdown. So
the Discoverers still searching for their first win of the season as a big run is broken here by Thuin. He's going to outrun the field. He took it from the 20. That is 80 yards to the touchdown. And the Scouts, better late than never, are on the board with 3:24 to go.
And unless they go for 2, it's not going to stop the clock here. But what can you say about Brandon Thuin, who has just had a fantastic night tonight? The Scouts do not give up. They did a great job. We'll take a look at this one more time. Just the ISO play right up the middle. Great job. And a huge block by lead blocker number 20, Devin Betson, who opened that play up. Credit Betson. And then just the speed of Thuin. He was uncatchable there as he went in for the David City's first 6 points of the night.
Holding is Dustin Papa.
Here is the extra point attempt, nearly blocked, but it splits the uprights, and 7 points for David City. So if you look for some silver lining, Grant, there it is for Coach Ferg.
Yeah, nice job to get some points on the board. And I can't tell you enough about Devin Betson's block there right up the middle. I know when you saw that play there, he just knocked the defender on his butt. And Thuin, we kind of just been talking about him off and on tonight. He's been obviously the main contributor to the Scouts' offense as far as yards and rushing yards, but happy to see him after such a hard-running game able to break free and at least put some points on the board.
And so 3:24 is how much remains. You have Jarecki going back to return this kick, as well as Jackson Kumpf. Do they go for the onside, Grant?
I don't see why not. Try and get a few more points on the board. Look at Amp Ferg a little bit. Coach Amp Ferg, I'm not sure that they are going to. It looks like they are kind of lining up here in just a straight kickoff formation. It appears they're just going to kind of let this clock run out here.
Been showing a lot of highlights and replays throughout this game. We're glad to do it. I'd like to remind you, those replays brought to you by Bill's Tire. In Columbus, you can buy 4 select Kumho tires and get a rebate of up to $120 as Kumpf takes the kick return. Gets around the outside and across the 30.
Go to some nice position here. I can't imagine anything too crazy is going to happen here at the end of the game. I think the clock's probably just going to tick there. You can see the clock there as we go by almost about just under 3 minutes here now. I'm clicking away. Scotus prepares to move on to 5-0 on the season here. David City will drop to 1-3.
And there is a draw by the Shamrocks, and we'll see who falls on it. Wasn't a clean exchange between the quarterback and running back, and the Scouts get the ball. So they're going to have another crack at things. 2:30 and counting remaining.
Yeah, you see there are quite a few freshmen in right now for that Scotus offense, unable to get the clean exchange, but David City in position to potentially put up a few points here before halftime, or before the end of the game, excuse me.
Ball carried by number 5, Brandon Thielen. The tackle made in the backfield. Number 57, Kyle Kobza.
Minute 42 to go now. 2nd and 13 after that loss by David City. And there's the carry up the middle, getting across the 30 and a gain of about 5 for the Scouts as this clock winds down. 1:20 to go.
Meister for the Shamrocks. Speed is down to the 30-yard line.
So 3rd and 7 upcoming, ball 30. The Scouts just playing for pride right now. Maryland I formation. Scotus sends the house. Thuin with it, runs over a Scotus defender. Thuin! He's going to go in for another touchdown, his second of the night. This one from 30 yards out. Thuin now with over 100 yards in the last 2 offensive possessions.
More happy for the senior running back to get on just a nice little. We'll take a look at this one more time. Just kick this one away. Papa is going to give this one off to Thielen. He's going to take that little pitch around to the right side, follow his lead blockers, and just lower the shoulder. And it's green grass from there into the end zone. And Thielen able to mark up 2 touchdowns. Going to be happier for the senior running back, and they are going to kick that one through. Bring it to 42-14.
So 53 seconds to go. Thuin having a big 4th quarter as he reeled off a run for 80 yards in the prior possession for the Scouts, and then adds a 30-yard total to that one. 42-14. Most likely be how this thing ends up. Barring a kick return, I guess, by Scotus. Never say never, though.
I can't imagine, unless they do return a kick for a touchdown, I can't imagine the offense is going to do anything besides just let the clock run out as we are counting down here. But, you know, kickoff, special teams, like I said earlier, is something that 100% on you is keep your starters in to make sure nothing goes wrong. So we'll see what happens here.
Yep. Keep alongside Jarecki again. They've been back there a couple times this second half. And here's the boot. And it goes to Jarecki at the 5. And Jarecki down near the 25.
Colorado's kick was taken by number 1, Luke Jarecki. Now led by number 22, Justin White for the Scouts. Shamrocks will take over.
And there's 46 seconds remaining. And about the time for the victory formation.
If you're going to see him come out here and kneel it, as you see a lot of those freshmen in the game, about close to an all-freshman offense. Maybe a couple sophomores mixed in there as well. They're going to let this one run out. Credit Thewin, fantastic tonight. Really saw him do some great things, able to break free for a couple of touchdowns at the end of the game. Gonna have a player of the game for David City as they were unable to win, but Thewin, I think, probably would have took the mantle for them when they had to get someone to David City.
Absolutely, and be sure to stay with us as this thing wraps up. We're going to hear from winning head coach Tyler as well as our play game. Brought to you by Columbus Community Hospital. We never like to let out the secret of who it will be, but it may surprise you. It just may surprise you, I'll say that. 13 seconds to go. The Shamrocks are going to kneel it one more time, but that's going to do things here tonight as Scotus advances to 5-0, 42-14. Victors over David City, who dropped to 1-3, and this very, very strong run the 2015 season where the Shamrocks have some serious aspirations. It continues on without a hitch here tonight. Scotus next has a tough road test going to Bishop Newman, currently number 4. While David City, not much easier as they host number 6 Wahoo, who is currently in a dogfight with Lakeview. Thoughts, reactions, Grant, as we wrap this thing up before we hear from Coach Linder, Columbus Community Hospital player of the game?
Kind of what we expected, kind of the outcome tonight. Scouts made a couple errors, and Scotus was able to capitalize on that. Scotus was really just didn't make any mistakes besides maybe a fumble by some of their younger players, but kind of clicking on all cylinders, and these teams are going to move forward. David City got a tough route the rest of this season, a very tough district for both these guys as we start district play and move into week 2 of that, but best of luck to the Scouts as they move forward, and we'll continue to see Scotus develop as well, so we got a couple more of their games on the schedule this year.
So 42-14 you see there. Shamrocks continue on, and there is their celebration they do in the middle every time after a win, and they're fired up. Coach Linder and company pleased with their team's performance, and why shouldn't they be? It's going to be a very interesting October and November watching this Scotus team and what they have the potential to do.
As long as this backfield for Scotus continues to stay healthy, Pelster, a kid that we saw battle a little bit of potential injury, maybe more fatigue after a couple long runs than anything, and kind of working on mind has been working through that throughout the season, but very bright future for Scotus throughout this season. Really living up to the hype so far this year. The Scouts
framed up well, and if they're not
at the end of the
focused,
road, the Scouts still have time to put together a couple of wins, but like as we said,
if they're not focused,
very
push that
tough
button.
road.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'll be talking. To you about it if they're focused.
Also, they'll be playing Lakeview.
Yeah.
The game will be covering as well. And
Yeah, that
will
one.
not be easy for the
Okay.
Scouts. Lakeview
All right.
able to put together a couple of good wins. They had a nice win over Kearney Catholic earlier this season. They put 34, I believe, points up on 5th-ranked Boone Central, or maybe 4th-ranked now. Boone Central has just been absolutely demolishing teams after their opening game loss to Scotus. But where the job was here from Rachel Urbanski pretty quickly as Scotus kind of breaks down their huddle. The 5th time we've seen that formation so far this year.
And as the Shamrocks have their victory walk back towards the locker room, Coach Ferg gathers as well after a good effort. They never said die. They put up 14 points in the 4th quarter and have some positive things to take away from their 2nd week playing a very strong opponent in the Shamrocks.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we honor the following senior cheerleaders and football players and their parents at our annual Parents' Night. The support you have given to your daughter or son and to Scotus Central Catholic over the past 4 years is greatly appreciated. We will first introduce our cheerleaders. The first is Natalie Chappelle, the daughter of Mark and Elaine Chappelle.
So you see some senior cheerleaders being honored tonight for Scotus as we await the words of Coach Linder and what he has to say after his 5th win of the season, as well as the Columbus Community Hospital Player of the Game. You will find out in a matter of seconds. Rachel Urbanski down on the field.
Ross Bump, the son of Steve and Deb Bump.
And with further ado, we now check in with Rachel Urbanski and our Columbus Community Hospital Player of the Game and Coach Linder.
Carson, sorry, I mispronounced that, but you guys ran the ball great. You did a good job. Great win. Tell me what you guys' mindset is moving forward.
It was a good team victory. Alex got to work on our next opponents.
All right, thank you. Guys, Coach Linder, you guys have been opponents of late. Tell me what you guys are doing differently.
I think we've got a great coaching staff that puts our guys in a position to be successful. But one of the things that we haven't mentioned is we've got a great scout team, right? Really good football teams have a great group of practice guys that push us every single day. And so my hat goes off to those guys that really got in there in the 3rd and 4th quarter and showed what they had.
John Lovell. And what would you like best you saw today out of your guys?
I like that we made a step as a team. Right, a lot of times you can come into a game like this and you can kind of overlook an opponent. And David City's already a football team. I think that we showed up great as a team, and I did a step in a positive direction.
Okay, great. Can you tell me what your thoughts were when you saw that big hit?
I was excited for Marcus. It looked, from my perspective, like a good clean hit. That is a point of emphasis this year that the officials are trying to make is to make the game a little bit safer. And so there probably may have been an opportunity for him to lay up a little bit, but I can't fault Skip for trying to make a play. I hope the David City player bounces back from it, but I'll applaud Marcus Dodson.
Okay, great. Thanks, Coach. All right, Brandon Grant, back to you.
You heard there from Coach Linder. You didn't get to see him, but our Columbus Community Hospital player, Carson Fuchser, he was a man of few words. He had to get back out and be with his parents for this awards ceremony in front of the home fans, so we can't blame him for that, but we're still going to give him credit. Carson Fuchser, the big boy in the trenches, paving the way for that rushing attack of the Scotus Shamrocks that ran for well over 300 yards here tonight. He was our Columbus Community Hospital Player of the Game. So as we stand 5-0 for the Shamrocks, they next travel to Bishop Newman, the number 14 in Class C1. David City drops to 1-3, and they take on number 6 Wahoo next week. For our entire Columbus News Team crew, our camera operators, producer Aaron Trout, Grant, and our color commentator extraordinaire, and Rachel Urbanski, our sideline reporter, I am Brandon Axmith. Thank you for watching on ColumbusNewsTeam.com. We will catch you next week.
To our visitors and friends from David City, good luck the rest of the season. And to everyone, please.
You've made it a bit bigger. Wake up in a home with a new address. Wake up in a home that doesn't even have an address. As your life evolves, your dream home evolves too, and protecting it takes committed support. At American Family Insurance, we support your dreams.
In Columbus, see American Family agent Roger Iwanski.
Central Community College, investing in you. Academic transfer, business, health, and technical courses all available at a fraction of the cost of a university. Small class sizes for an enhanced educational experience. Get started on improving your future. Contact Central Community College Columbus campus.
Our economic future depends on tomorrow's skilled workforce. Dream it, do it, and Central Community College Columbus is here to help young adults find careers in advanced manufacturing and related businesses. Visit dreamitdoit.com for more information or tour the Central Community College Columbus campus.
Hi, I'm Dee Hansen. I'm the Marketing Director, and we would like to introduce you to Bank of the Valley.
Community-minded, family-centered, measurable relationships. When it comes to your business, agriculture, and personal banking needs, trust Bank of the Valley.
We're obviously a locally owned bank, but we're also a bank that's very involved.
The most important thing is when you walk in the front door, everybody knows your first name. We are small-town banking with all the modern conveniences.
Bank of the Valley in Bellwood, David City, Platte Center, and their brand new location in Columbus.
Would you like to watch this game from above the crowd? When it comes to finding you a new home, the team at Total Realty have a game plan that'll put you above the crowd. Whether you're buying or selling, they will answer your questions and provide an expert offense to put you in the lead during the whole process. The Total Realty team members are real people living in your same community. They have the same concerns as you do, and one might just live in your own neighborhood. Your RE/MAX team members are the hometown experts with the world of experience. They don't just want to sell you homes, they want to make you happy. At Total Realty today, log on to ColumbusTotalRealty.com or see their full list of homes from the Columbus app, available on iPhone and Android devices.
At Columbus Motor Company, they feel shopping for a new vehicle should not be complicated. That's why during the Chrysler Anniversary Celebration, they offer everyone their very best price 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. At Columbus Motor Company, it's just one low price, plain and simple, always. So if you're ready for a new vehicle, stop by Columbus Motor Company, your Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram dealer at 2806 23rd Street in Columbus, or visit them at onelowpricene.com. Columbus Motor Company, where you'll find one low price, plain and simple, always.
Hi, I'm Dee Hansen. I'm the Marketing Director, and we would like to introduce you to Bank of the Valley.
Community-minded, family-centered, measurable relationships. When it comes to your business, agriculture, and personal banking needs, trust Bank of the Valley.
We really focus on the people that we serve. Relationships are the most important thing to us, and because we're smaller, we're flexible enough and we can make those quick decisions to meet your needs.
Bank of the Valley in Bellwood, David City, Platte Center, and their brand new location in Columbus.
Hi, I'm Dee Hansen.